Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Millie and I love any makeup, especially shiny, shifty, and sparkly eyeshadows. And today I'm going to be showing you a new palette. It is a collaboration between Milan Rowe and DoodlesByTheBunny. If you are not following her, you have to be following her. I will pop up some of her palette designs. She's done some really fun palette mock-ups. And so I'm so happy that she got this opportunity to actually bring one of her visions to life. So huge congratulations on this collaboration. And also thanks so much to Milan Rowe for sending me this palette to try out. So the palette they brought to life is the Poison Ivy palette. Look at this packaging, it's super nice. I will insert some close-ups. And so of course on the inside we have our beautiful green color story, and I love me some greens. So I was really excited to see the theme. We've got some mixture of different kinds of tones of greens, and like a little bit more of a washed denim. We have like a grayish taupey shade, which is really interesting. I think this is such a unique color story, especially for a Poison Ivy theme. I think everyone would just pretty much throw a bunch of greens together, but we also have this gorgeous orangey burgundy shade, and then there's just a nice variety of different shimmers. It looks like there's a couple of different shimmer formulas. Some of them are a little more satin. Ivy is a bit of a topper, and Such an Itch is just a really stunning super shiny metallic. And then there is a glitter in this palette. I personally don't like glitters. It is definitely something that will deter me from buying a palette. If it's like a 30 pan palette and there's one glitter, then it's fine. For a palette with a little bit more of a condensed color story, it is just a little too much for my personal taste, but that is my preference. I'm excited. I will be showing you how I achieved these two looks with this palette. So I do have one previous experience with Milan Rowe, and that was their first palette, I believe. I'm not sure if it was the first palette, and that is the Iconic Couture palette, and this is what the packaging looked like of that previous palette. And this palette had some really beautiful shimmers and super nice deep mattes. However, they were very fragile. I actually can't fully hold it up, but I will put up a picture, and there's some really stunning shimmers in here. The mattes were extremely powdery, really loose in the pan almost. So I was very curious to see if this was going to be a different formula or a similar formula. So let's get right into the two looks, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. Priming with the ABH primer. It's been a while since I used it, so I thought I would whip it out. I'm gonna do a halo eye, going in with the Ivy, the inner corner and outer corner. This is such an interesting shade, really cool. I'm gonna take New Leaf and blend that into that. Whoa, pigmentation, okay. And then take it on the outer corner and blend it out. I'm kind of leaving the center of my lid empty. I'm just gonna go back in with the Ivy. And then back in here as well. I have a little bit of fallout, and just blending it a little bit more. Taking a little bit of just a light powder to help blend out these edges further. Going in with the J Cat glitter primer right in the center of my lid. Some of these shades look like they're going to be a little bit on the chunky side, so I want to make sure I'm using something pretty sticky. I'm actually just going to go in with my finger. I picked up Such an Itch. I'm gonna tap it into the center of my lid. Ooh, that is so beautiful. It picks up pretty smooth with my finger at least, but it does look like it's a little chunky in the pan. So I think it would be a little harder to pick up with a brush. But oh, that is so beautiful. I'm just kind of bringing it all the way up. Picking up just a little bit of Not Today Batman and just gonna stamp it right in there to deepen this up, and then a little bit over here just close to my lash line. See how these layer over each other? I do feel like it's not really wanting to layer out here, but it layered here. I'm having a little bit of trouble layering that for sure. It's looking a little bit patchy here. I don't know if it's translating on camera. Let me go in with a little bit more. I think that's a little bit better. Taking the Ivy under my lower lash line. And I'm going to take New Leaf right next to that. Picked up a little bit of Ivy, and it's definitely chunky. I felt it fall down my nose. So I think this would need to be wet or applied with a finger. I'm just gonna brush off some of the fallout. Actually, let me go in. I'm gonna go in with my pinky. Like, again, it like kind of smooths out with my finger. I feel like the shade looks kind of similar to the lid shade. It's just a bit lighter though. It doesn't have like a greenish gold to it. So it is slightly different, but I think if you use them on the lid together, you might not get, you know, they might not end up being that different. I'm just gonna take this shimmer and make sure I have like a nice smooth transition. Put on the Salon Perfect 690 lashes. In the waterline, I have Gotcha from LA Girl. And here's the first finished look. The second look, I'm gonna prime with the Natasha Denona eyeshadow primer. Just feathering out allergy season. And I'm gonna bring it a little bit under my lower lash line as well. Then I'm putting down Don't Be Rash. And again, I'm just stamping it on, and then I'm gonna start blending it into the gray. And that is blending really nicely. Maybe just slight patchiness, a little bit of blending away, so we'll have to go back in with that shade. Just gonna pack it on a little bit more. That is a very interesting combination. I love it. And I can go back in with Allergy Season. That's such a funny name for a shade. Going in with Don't Be Rash just a little bit under my lower lash line. Going in with my Fair & Pixie Epoxy, and I'm gonna create a fake half cut crease with that. I'm picking up Ivy Leigh, and I'm just gonna stamp that closest to my lash line. This shade seems in the pan to be a little bit more on the satin side, but I feel like it's layering really nicely. And I'm gonna go in with Pistachio right above that and just blend it down into that. Going back in with Don't Be Rash just a little bit on this outer edge, making sure everything is blended. Braid my brush, and I'm going in with Pistachio under my lower lash line. And again, I'm going to use Ivy as my inner corner highlight. I put on these 690 lashes from Salon Perfect. In the waterline, I have the Gotcha liner from LA Girl. Here's the second finished look. So keeping in mind that I've only done 2 looks and I haven't used all the shades, there are quite a few shades I haven't used, but I do feel like I got a pretty decent feel for some of the other mattes, especially the deeper mattes, because deeper mattes, especially when they're somewhat of a like really unique kind of tone, can cause issues, but these blended really nicely. I did just have a slight issues with layering the Ivy and Not Today Batman. There was just a little bit of patchiness on one side, but that could have been the primer. I'm not going to hold it against the palette. I had an amazing time with Allergy Season and Don't Be Rash together, really beautifully layered together. It feels like a thinner formula, but it's got a little bit more of density to it. It feels very, very velvety smooth. There is quite a bit of kick up though, and some fallout, so if that's something you don't like, that is something to keep in mind. I got a lot of kick up in the pan from just like dipping the brush once. You pick up a lot of pigment, so go in with a lighter hand for sure. As for the shimmers, I have really mixed feelings. I really, really love Such an Itch and Ivy. I think those are my favorite because that is just my preference of shimmer. Some of the other shades are more like satins, and some are just like a regular metallic like Pistachio. But I did really like when I wet my brush and I picked up Pistachio. I got a really beautiful sheen, and I do really love the way that this eye came out. So I do love those, but I would probably recommend either wetting your brush or using some sort of a primer underneath that is wet and dries down. I think the mattes are standouts for me, as well as this color story. Like, I just really love the tone of the Ivy, Not Today Batman, Don't Be Rash, and Allergy Season. They're just such a unique tone, and because of that I did feel really inspired, and I felt like the looks just kind of came easily to me. Like, you're gonna get like somewhat monochromatic looks with this, but you do have some variety of the more grungy, cool tones in here. That's everything for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you picked this palette up or if you plan on it. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you subscribe. There's so much indie makeup content uploading my channel and much more to come. You don't want to miss out. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.